Lovely Leo friends, this week Mars will be squaring Neptune from your 12th house. Now, this can manifest in your life as maybe you fighting battles that you're not even really clear on. What am I actually fighting for? Or you might be expending a considerable amount of your energy dealing with sort of problems that are undefined, hidden problems, or diving deep into unconscious fears or circumstances that you actually have no control over. It can be exhausting. You might feel that something is continually undermining your efforts, but you don't know what. Something behind the scenes, maybe some energy or some person that you can't put your finger on. Or you might feel that you are repeatedly expending your energy helping people who just take from you. They're draining you. They remain unwilling of or, unaware of what they're doing to you. Forewarned, forearmed, Leo friends, about this. I'm going to be exploring the energy of Mars square to Neptune in this video, and I'm also going to share with you how you can navigate this energy to the best of your advantage. This is a video forecast for your sun, moon, or rising sign. You can check out all 3 videos and they will tell you how the stars are going to affect your life this week. I'm Ksenia, my friends, and welcome to the Astro News and Weather Report for the 3rd week of August 2026. This is tropical Vedic astrology that I will be using, not sidereal astrology. Look it up if you need to find out about it. And yes, I am a real person, not AI. Don't forget, if you don't want to listen to the information about how the skies will affect us all this week, then you can use the timestamps to skip to your zodiac sign forecast. And now for something you'll really like. Well, hello everybody. I'm so glad you could join us today. Do we have some news for you? I'm here today with my husband, David Warner Matheson, and we are going to be hosting the most amazing astrology retreat and astronomy retreat in the High Sierras at Lake Tahoe. Dave, do you want to tell us a little bit about this?
Well, thanks, Ksenia. Really great to join your audience, and the event is called Stars Over Tahoe. It will be in the last weekend of September 25th, 26th, and 27th. That's a Friday evening, then Saturday and Sunday at a beautiful resort in Lake Tahoe. It's really gorgeous. A stunning and special part of the state of California and Nevada and part of the country, and the energy there is just fabulous, and it's a beautiful time of year. And not only that, great stargazing. Go ahead.
Awesome stargazing. So one of the things that we're offering at this retreat is some stargazing tours hosted by Dave. Dave, do you want to just fill us in about what that might involve?
Well, in addition to, during the day, we'll be having presentations about astrology.
Oh yeah, you're going to learn how to read your charts in deeper, more dynamic ways. I've got some great topics to talk about with you. Dave will be sharing about mythology.
And how it's based on the stars, the different stories and characters. And then at night, the glorious mountain air and high altitude will give us a beautiful view of the stars, weather permitting, of course, but at the end of September is one of the best times for stargazing in the Tahoe area. We should see the gorgeous Milky Way arching overhead, and I'll be pointing out the constellations using a laser pointer, many of which you may have never been able to recognize before. A lot of people who know about astrology may know the characteristics associated with Scorpio or Sagittarius, but may have never been able to find them in the sky. So I'll be pointing out some of the zodiac constellations that will be visible, but as well as the band of the zodiac, the other stars all the way up to the dome of the night sky at the North Star and the Big Dipper. Most of us know the Big Dipper and Orion, and that's it, because we never get taught this. We never get taught how to find them. So I'll assist with that.
That's awesome, because it's actually so important. There's a branch of astrology called visual astrology that works mostly based on what is going on visually in the heavens, which is very different than what we see on the astrology map. So being able to sit under the skies and know what you're looking at is actually very, very important to really flesh out your capabilities if you're interested in becoming an astrologer. So this is a really exciting experience that we're offering. Plus, of course, we also have the immersion in the Sierra environment with the pine forests and the beautiful panoramic views, and obviously the gorgeous mountain air and lovely lake itself. Such an unforgettable backdrop, which I'm really excited to experience with you all. We're also going to be having some didgeridoo and sound bath sessions, which will be very wonderful because it's an energetic reset. That's what these instruments are designed to do. So we will be doing some little adventures that settle our nervous system, because we all live such stressful lives these days. It's hard to switch off and just immerse ourselves in the beauty and restorative qualities of nature. So we really want to support people in doing that as a part of this retreat. And of course, the retreat centre has a lot of nice things like saunas and day spas and all that nice stuff as well.
And in addition to the structured activities, we'll also have plenty of time just to mingle and spend time with Ksenia. If you've never met her in person, spend time with me. And we'll be having meals together, beautiful meals. And it's just going to be a chance to meet new friends and have a wonderful retreat, stars over Tahoe, in one of the most beautiful parts of the world.
So I'm very excited about this. I know we have some great plans for what's going to happen, and we hope you can join us. I've been astounded at how quickly things are booking up already. This is a curated group. It's not like a conference where there's just, everyone can come. So we do have limits on the amount of people, because we want to be able to interact with everybody and form friendships with everybody and create community with everybody who comes. So with that in mind, there are limited spots. So do make sure that you get in early so you don't miss out, and we don't want anyone to be disappointed. So we hope to see you at Stars Over Tahoe, and we look forward to sharing a really magnificent experience with each and every one of you. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks so much. See you soon.
See you soon. Thank you to Ksenia and Dave for that one. Now, on the 17th of August this week, we're going to have Mars making a square aspect to Neptune. Now, I would say this is the most important aspect forming this week, although do keep in mind that we are actually still in the eclipse gateway phase of eclipse season. We're coming up to the lunar or full moon eclipse. So the eclipses are actually the most powerful manifestors of this week's energy. Mars square Neptune will just be secondary. I hope you all got to enjoy the individual 20-minute solar eclipse forecasts that I did for your specific sign, so that you know what's going to be unfolding for you in the next 6 months of your life. I was so excited by what I saw for almost every single sign that this eclipse was bringing you. If you missed the forecast, you can use the link in the description below to catch yourself up with what's going to unfold because of the recent solar eclipse, and get ready for the new lunar eclipse videos that will be coming out in the week ahead. But now, Mars square Neptune on the 17th. This is an energy that stirs up in us very strong desires that really, really want to be expressed, especially if those desires are related to Neptunian themes of unconditional love, soulmate connections, compassion, being a spiritual warrior for the good, and tapping into your creative intuition. You want love, and you want it now. Mars energy wants to make it happen. Or you hunger to fight for a compassionate cause and nothing's going to stop you. This is the positive expression of Mars in a square to Neptune. But it is a hard aspect, obviously, and therefore it is not without challenge. Neptune is often associated with scandal. So be sure that your passions and your actions don't lead you into the murky depths of gossip, ruined reputations, hurt and disappointment. And if you see those things unfolding in your life, you'll know exactly where they're coming from. So keep calm, seek to be as rational as possible during this time, avoid being salacious, and cling to your faith in the goodness of the universe, and you'll get through this time with aplomb. So in a nutshell, let's have a look at what Mars square Neptune can bring us. Well, we can have trouble filling our desires. We want the desires, but they're eluding us in some way. We're perhaps feeling some intense and very idealistic cravings, but we might be limited in how we can take action around them. We might feel insecure or too timid. Mars energy is somehow thwarted. You might use indirect or underhanded means to obtain what you want now. Mars usually likes things straightforward and straight up, but Neptune brings some fog into just going directly for things. You might be very straightforward in your dealings with others and choose to leave what's unsaid or the rest in the hands of God. That's another way this energy can express. Success and accomplishment, they're not really favored this week because of this aspect. This aspect only forms about once a year, but it is a time when moving ahead, accomplishing our entrepreneurial dreams and goals can be a little bit held back by Neptune's mistiness. So it's not really associated with great success unless you're looking for success and forward momentum in a Neptunian field. Creativity, art, music, poetry, things like that. We also need to be very, very careful of deception and fraud and trickery. We need to be very careful about being exploited by our peers and associates in the week ahead. And women especially need to be very careful. If you're going out to a party, make sure somebody accompanies you home, or that you drive yourself home or something like that. Don't walk home in the dark, that kind of thing. I hate saying that, but it's just the world we live in, isn't it? Women need to be extra careful this week and guard against assault or the onslaught of perverted people. Unfortunately, they're everywhere. Romantic dealings may bring out some disappointment and depression as well this week, because Neptune is this romantic idealism and Mars is this anger, and they're joining in a rather unfriendly square. Sometimes also we can't distinguish between a fantasy lover and a real love when we experience Mars and Neptune square. So that's something to be careful of if you've just met somebody, or you're just moving out in the dating scene. Be extra cautious and careful. We can also find that our sexual fantasies are really heightened now. So if you're in a loving relationship, that could actually serve you very well. You could have a lot of fun. Also, sexual restraint and caution can disappear. Just back to what I was talking about earlier, try, if that's the way you're feeling, more uninhibited, more power to you. Just be really cautious and careful about who and where and when you exhibit that with. You can also feel a lot more experimental with Mars in a square to Neptune. This is the planet of high-level love expressions, Neptune, with passion and sexual expression. And we want to try a few things out. So enjoy. Energy can be a bit laggy though. We can feel really frail or really tired and worn out. That's very annoying to me because I've just managed to get myself into a new exercise routine, and the last thing I want is to feel too exhausted to be able to make the most of it. But it's only for the week, folks, and then it'll dissipate as the separation of these two planets squaring each other occurs. So hang in there. Also, be a little bit wary of poisons and toxins and unnatural substances. Keep things as organic as possible. Nourish your blood. Mars is the blood, with green leafy vegetables and iron-rich foods this week, lest you feel more drained, and that, Neptune can sort of act a bit like the South Node sometimes and drain our energy. Also, avoid drugs and alcohol. Neptune is drugs and alcohol. Mars in medical astrology is to do with inflammation. And sometimes, if we have some drugs or alcohol, it mightn't go well with us under this square, and we can find our body getting inflamed as a result, or heated or something as a result. That in mind, I know sometimes we can't avoid it. And as I said, it's eclipse season. That's the major energy this week. So don't be too panicky about what I'm going to say. But really, it's not a good week to schedule surgery when Mars, which is the planet of cutting, it's the planet associated with surgery, is in a difficult aspect to Neptune. Things can be a bit misty and clouded for the surgeon operating on you and not quite clear enough. We can also find that if you're seeing a specialist, correct diagnosis of problems can be very difficult under this energy. Now, I often get, when I share some negative influences of planetary energy, I often get people commenting in the comments saying it's very wrong of me to cause fear in people and to scare people. Well, that's a legitimate comment, I guess, but, we all lap up the good vibes of each planetary interaction, and we take that on board. Please consider, when I share some things that are perhaps a little bit on the scary side, that we just need to proceed with caution and care. Make sure the surgeon or the professional diagnosing us actually is fully alert and, haven't come back from a big long lunch with a few glasses of wine or something. We need to take precautions during this time. And so I share these types of things not to scare you, but to forewarn you and forearm you to help you make good decisions for your life. Now, there can be illusions and deceptions that come from medical practitioners now, which Neptune is sometimes associated with, particularly pharmacists, etc. So do your own due diligence. Do your own research around the medications that you're taking or the treatment that you're getting, and really dig deep so that you're not deluded, you're not deceived. We can also be a little bit more susceptible to infections with this square, and there might be a little bit longer recuperation time required from any procedures, etc. We also need to be very cautious in our dealings with the police and the military and mechanics. They're careers that are ruled by the planet Mars, and of course Neptune making a square can make things, dealings with the police or the military or mechanics a little bit obscured, a little bit unclear. We take our car into the mechanic, he tells us what we need, and we're like, what? That doesn't make sense, I'm not understanding why I need to, I came in to get my tires replaced and you're telling me I've got to replace the carburetor or something. So be very careful and cautious and do your due diligence and research yourself with regard to your dealings with the police and the military and mechanics. But in the plus side, and there is always a plus side with all aspects, you're going to be more inspired and more imaginative if you are a creative artist. You might produce great music or paintings or poetry or work on film. Just recently I've been feeling like, I need to get back into my sewing. I need to get back into painting, which is something that I love to do. And that inspiration has been sort of sitting with me for a few days now. It would be a great energy to take action, Mars, around those artistic endeavors under this influence this week. We should also be careful in a personal way with our interactions with others in taking on other people's problems and expending enormous amounts of energy rescuing them, helping them, or supporting them. In other words, martyring ourselves and, blowing our vitality and our energy and our enthusiasm, Mars stuff, on giving away to people who don't deserve it, really. Be very careful about martyring yourself. We can also feel very drained by relationships. But let me clarify the kind of relationships where one person is continually giving, and the other person is just taking. So Mars square to Neptune can just absolutely leave us exhausted if we're in a relationship like that. So they're just a few of the expressions of this energy. Remember, it's not the major energy this week. We are in eclipse season, but you might notice some little snippets of this energy unfolding around you in your life. Now let's take a look at how this is going to play out through your sign. Lovely Leo, this week, as you can see on the screen, there is a mighty square being formed between Mars in your 12th house to Neptune. This is quite an influential transit, although the eclipses will be more predominant, especially for you as the recent solar eclipse occurred in your house. But nonetheless, this might be a bit of a background energy, literally because it's in the 12th house for you, that you experience. This is the house of retreats, escaping, rest and relaxation, hidden matters, things going on behind the scenes, unconscious processes, and life's endings. This can be one of the more difficult houses for a transiting Mars to be in because Mars wants to act openly, but the 12th house often deals with circumstances that aren't visible And Mars can get frustrated because it wants to just do, and yet it's being hidden. It's being kept secret. So you might feel that this week, my beautiful Leo friends, that your efforts are being mysteriously blocked. Plans aren't quite working out. The energy that you're putting into things is disappearing and sort of vanishing. It feels like maybe the divine is putting the kibosh on the things that you're striving towards. You might sense that something's wrong and you can't put your finger on what it is. Maybe somebody's acting behind the scenes to sabotage you, but you don't know who, you can't describe how, you just sense it. That's the energy. Neptune squaring Mars in the 12th house. In fact, I'd say more than any other sign, Leo, you're probably going through this transit in the toughest way, because Mars is not only hidden in the 12th house, it's squared by Neptune, which is a very similar sort of hazy energy, unclear energy. It's not a blocking energy, but it just stops us acting and moving forward because we can't see what we should be doing. We can't find the solution to the problem. Mars is a problem solver and Neptune is causing a fog. The solution isn't out there. We can't grasp it. This is also potentially a period of really unusual exhaustion too, because Mars is expending energy in a realm where the results aren't immediately visible. So you're trying, you're putting yourself forward, you're doing, and there's no tangible results. There's no claimable, if you like, reward for effort here, and that can be extremely frustrating. So my Leo friends, if you need to rest, if you need to chill, allow yourself that privilege this week, because Mars is vitality, Mars is enthusiasm. Here it is hidden in the house of rest and retreat and escape. Have some time out. Allow that to be a thing. Don't beat yourself up if you need to take time out. In fact, today, just to fill you in on my life, today as I was preparing to do these videos, I found that I just felt really unwell and I needed to lie down for an hour. And I was like, this shouldn't be happening. Why is this happening? Usually I'm a real goer. It may be that because I was going to talk about these matters and I am a Leo person, that I was tapping into this energy. So allow yourself to rest if you need to, Leo. After the 17th of August, it's likely that this won't be quite as bad or that you won't be feeling it quite as intensely because Mars will begin separating from Neptune. Now, my beautiful Leo friends, you also might discover this week that in some way you're fighting a battle that, maybe you aren't even clear about. And certainly a battle that can't be won through direct force. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to be in arguments with people, but it could even be a spiritual battle that you're fighting. It's usually a battle that you don't need to fight. Again, rest and retreat where needed. But I'd also suggest put some protective mechanisms around you energetically. Visualize force fields around you. Imagine the angels fighting on your side and use prayer to tap into the divine realms and ask for support right now, because there is likely to be a spiritual battle, Mars energy in the 12th house, that is being undertaken. And you might not even be clear about what that spiritual battle is. But prayer can help. And, reaching out to your deceased ancestors on the other side who are there to support you is also another mechanism that you can use. Like I said, the battle, whatever it is, whether it's an earthly battle or whether it's a spiritual battle, is going on right now in your life. And it can't be won by using direct force like we would usually do with our Mars energy. There's a spiritual component to any battle that is being fought right now in your life, Leo. And so pray. And by battle, it could just be that there's a blockage, or that you're feeling like the nasty forces on the other side are getting the upper hand and keeping you from your success and keeping you from your victory and keeping you from a sense of joy and happiness. So we pray that the angels fight on our side to defeat these evil forces that are keeping us from our sense of joy and happiness and success. Miracles can happen in the 12th house. It is a house of miracles because it's a house of divine energy. And so we have to act in a divine way when we are interacting or when the emphasis is on our 12th house. How do we act in a divine way? We trust. We reach out to the other dimensional realms through prayer, through ritual, through looking for omens and trusting, again, I come back to trusting in the divine being there for us. This can actually be a really good period, my beautiful Leo friends, for identifying where we've been wasting our energy. Sometimes that's not clear to us. Sometimes we can't see where we've been putting effort in, throwing, to quote Kurt Douglas from the great Australian film Man from Snowy River, throwing effort after foolishness. This is a great time for seeing where you've been throwing effort after foolishness. Things that have been operating beneath your awareness become apparent now, precisely because Mars is irritating them enough to bring them into your conscious awareness. Good old Mars doing his job here. So you might see ways that you have been wasting your time, wasting your energy, and be able to make changes in preparation for when Mars moves through your first house, which is coming up down the track for you in a little while. So what we need to watch out for, my Leo friends, this week is conflicts behind the scenes. That you might get dragged into a conflict with someone that isn't a public conflict, it's very private. Mars fighting behind the scenes here, but also Mars in the house of self-sabotage. That's something we need to watch out for too. We need to watch out for doing things that don't serve us well. We act impulsively on a certain issue and it goes against us. And deep down we knew it would. So why did we do that? Damn it. We also need to watch out for exhaustion, and just honor our feelings in that case when we do feel tired, when we do feel exhausted or run down. Honor that. Have a rest. Tap out for a bit where you can. We also need to watch out for acting on suspicion, which is a very 12th house thing, and expending energy trying to control things that are outside of our control, because so much is happening in the divine realm for you, Leo. That's where all the action is. Mars is where the action is, and it's in the divine realm. So don't feel like, your willpower can overcome things. No, again, I come back to what I was saying before. Trusting in the divine and calling on the divine. It will hear, it will answer. That's how, not how we control things, but that's how we move the energy, by trusting that the divine realms act on our behalf and asking them to. With reverence, I might add, on that topic as well. We can't control the divine realms. It's beyond us, beyond our human limitations, but we can request, and they do listen. But the best use of this energy going forward, Leo, for this week, to use it for your advantage, is to just step back. Before acting, trust the divine, pray, and release the problems, the issues, over to the divine realms. Some situations just need observation and pondering, and that's what resting and relaxing can allow us to do. It offers us a reset of our energy, and sometimes we, wake up from a nana nap and we see the world in new eyes, and we realize the things that we'd been stewing over and getting burnt out over are nothing to worry about after all. Observation, retreat, and relaxation this week are much better than confrontation and trying to force our will into a situation. So my dear loving Leo friends, that's what I'm seeing for you this week. And where possible, trust the divine to act on your behalf, because it will.